I'd like to introduce our first farmers for the Cleveland County Kitchen Program. This is Lloyd Lewis and his wife Sarah, and they do all the farming themselves. And we'll see as the program progresses what it takes to grow sweet potatoes and everything else that they grow.
When I was 18-year-old, I planted my first crop, which was sweet potatoes. I was just out of high school, and Dad gave me a 3/4 acre of land out there. He said, "You can plant that in there what you want to." So I said, "Well, I believe sweet potatoes is good. It's a good stable crop that'll hold up a lot. In case you don't sell it in 3 days, it'll still good." So I planted sweet potatoes, and that year I made a 90 bushel, and I plowed them with a mule. Back in 1961.
Gracious.
We're still using mules to plow with. Well, after that, I made a little money on that, so I bought me an old Ace John Deere tractor, and it was hand crank tractor, and that thing was hard to crank. Some days I'd spend 30 minutes trying to get it cranked, and it had a busted block also, and every time I got ready to use it, I'd have to drink the water being heavy and oil. The water would go to the bottom of the oil pan. I'd just open it up, let the water out, and take off. The first crop I ever planted was the sweet potatoes, and I'm still with it yet. So.
Yeah, well, that's great. And I believe it's what, #2 crop of North Carolina?
It is, yeah. This is one of the workers on the farm, and he's grading sweet potatoes. He's grading it, like I said a while ago, he's grading in 4 different grades, #1, #2, #3, and then the bedding potatoes. And he goes through each bushel, wipes them off, and sizes them according to their basket. He'll put the big ones in one, the little ones in one, or just whatever. He knows how to do that, and that's the way we grade potatoes. And when we get ready to sell them, we don't have to go through them and grade them at that time. We've got them already graded. People comes and buys them, and we just pour them in a box and let them go. This is a grading and curing house that we store them in and cure them out. And we grade them out in 4 different grades. The #1 grade is bacon sized potatoes. The #2 is jumbos, which is a large potato. #3 is a size, what we call peewee, and it's a small potato that people likes to boil and freeze. We had about 800 bushel in this building when we first started. There's still about 500 in it, and we got another building out there. We got some more potatoes in.
And so, Lloyd, you store these sweet potatoes in special buildings so that you can keep them all winter?
We store them in this insulated building right here, yeah, and they'll stay all winter. The secret is to cure them out at about 85 degrees when you first take them up. And after a 7-day period, you cut your heat back to about 55. That's all you want. You don't want them overheat. After that, they'll start sprouting out on them. So we cut the heat back on them.
And then do you sell these throughout the winter time?
We sell them from the time we start taking up in September, last of September, till next April, till we run out. When that period of time is, yeah. And we sell these at our house location on the farm here. We sell them at 4 different farmers markets we work at. We work Lincoln County, Cleveland County, Kings Mountain, and Denver. So we're pretty much on all the markets around here.
But now I know, like the Shelby Farmers Market is going to end the end of November.
Right.
So do these others stay open during the winter?
Some of them stay open the 20th of December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what potatoes we have left, we sell here at our house location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The most I ever raised in 1 year was 1,485 bushel. But we're trying to keep around 1,000 now. We got a little age on us, so we don't get around quite as well. But
Well, I noticed coming in here that you grow a lot of other things as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, we grow a lot of, about 18 to 20 different produce items here. Yeah. And our next biggest thing is probably tomatoes. Yeah. But we grow a lot of cucumbers, squash, okra, all kind of greens, butternut squash, a lot of those, and strawberries. And I'll show you a strawberry field what we're going to be looking at in a minute maybe. But we grow a lot of different things.
Now,
when you hit the market, you got to have a variety
uh-huh.
to draw the people to your stand. If you got 20 different items, and the other man over here's got 10, they're going to go where they can get the most.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
And we try to keep good quality so that we can draw the customers in. I've been working one market about 18 years.
Good.
That's the longest market I've worked at.
Mm-hmm.
The other markets I've been working 6-8 years, most of them, yeah.
You don't plant the same thing in the same ground at any time, is that?
Now we try to rotate around. You stay out of problems if you rotate your crops.
Uh-huh.
Especially sweet potatoes. You grow sweet potatoes, you really don't want to go back for at least 3 years, and it's good to not do it for 5 years.
Wow.
And you get in a problem for wire worms and all kind of problems on the ground, yeah. And but we don't spray for wire worms, but we don't spray them more than we have to.
Right.
So we don't spray. So the crop rotation takes care of most of that.
So that's really sort of a lesson then for just home gardeners.
That's right. That's good for everybody.
To
Everybody
not
at the
plant the same
thing. A lot of times people at the market say, "My mate got blossoming rot." I said, "Well, you need to lime your ground and change grounds. Don't plant them back the same place." "Well, I've been planting there for 10 years." I said, "That's your problem. You don't plant the same stuff the same, year after year after year. You want to rotate. It's good to rotate anything.
Good afternoon, Cleveland County. We're back with Cleveland County Kitchen, the second or third segment of the very first production of our show. We're here to meet with Nancy Abassier-Kong, who works with the Cooperative Extension Agency. She is, and I have to read this, an extension agent with the Family and Consumer Sciences is your title.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're highlighting the sweet potato this month. And Nancy, if you could just talk a little bit about the nutritional value of the sweet potato and whatever else you'd like to say.
Okay. Well, we're fortunate that sweet potatoes, of course, are a great fall crop. They're available actually year-round. Sweet potatoes are, even though we think of them in the fall, and we especially think of them, I think, as we start to plan our Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners and get-togethers, and sweet potatoes are always on that list and on the table there to be enjoyed in many, many different ways. Sweet potatoes are very nutritious. They are actually one of the, quote, superfoods, along with broccoli, and there are several other superfoods, but sweet potatoes is right at the top of the list because it has so many nutrients. Key, an excellent source of vitamin A and beta-carotene. And with the beta-carotene, that is where we get the orange color. So carrots would be another example of a food with vitamin A and beta-carotene. But with the sweet potatoes and with that beta-carotene, that nutrient is important because it helps us to have healthy skin and eyes. Also helps with resistance or to infections and so forth. So we can think of our food. We've heard how important it is. The foods that we eat and has an impact on our health and wellness. Well, in fact, it does. Mm-hmm. And the darker or more intense the color of the food or the vegetable or fruit, the more nutrients it has, or we would say the more nutrient dense that food is. So certainly sweet potatoes, again, are right there at the top of the list.
And of course, there's roughage. There are lots of fibers in sweet potato. So it's consuming a sweet potato is just good for the entire system.
That's right, all the way around. And in addition to the vitamin A and beta carotene, sweet potatoes also are a good source of potassium, of fiber, as you mentioned, vitamin C, although we often again think of citrus, but you get vitamin C also from sweet potatoes. In addition, some of the B vitamins, the niacin, the folate, and iron are all found in the sweet potato.
Wow.
So it's quite a powerhouse.
A super, what did you call it?
Superfood.
Superfood.
It is a superfood for sure.
Superfood.
That's right. And of course, sweet potatoes have a natural sweet taste to them. So, and we can, in preparing them, we can make it a savory dish or a sweet dish.
That's a good point.
So we can do soups and stews, of course baked. We can put them in casseroles, all kinds of breads, muffins, cakes.
And pies.
And pies, that's right. We won't want to leave out pies.
And Nancy, I believe you have some other information about the website, the Cooperative Extension website, which will have a lot of information on it.
Yes. Deborah, we are pleased to be launching with our Cleveland County Kitchen a veggie or fruit, depending on what we're focusing on, but we have a Veggie of the Month publication. And this fact sheet is really full of information. It has, and we start out with the gardening. How do we grow sweet potatoes? So Julie Flowers, who is the horticulture agent here, has some information on sweet potato slips, when to plant, how long it takes sweet potatoes then to mature, how to harvest, and so forth. So again, some great information here for the gardener. And then we start with the nutrition information here, and I have written this section. Nutritious and delicious are two adjectives for sweet potatoes, and we know again that they are very nutritious, but they are so delicious and can be prepared so easily. You can bake, boil, roast, microwave, any way. So sweet potatoes really are easy to prepare. And in this publication, we're also pointing out that there are two basic types of sweet potato. We have the one that we're most familiar with, the orange color, and then we have the white or yellow sweet potato. Now the yellow fleshed sweet potato, it has a more dry texture compared to the orange, which has a sweeter flavor and has, again, is a little more moist. But both can be prepared easily and in any of those fashions.
Okay, and then I believe on the back of this are all the recipes.
That's right. We are featuring 3 recipes. One is an easy sweet potato mini muffin, and of course they can be baked as a full-size muffin. This recipe will make about 30 mini muffins or 12 full-size muffins, and the baking instructions, oven temperature, and so forth are available here. We are also featuring an orange and white fries, but they're baked fries. So you can put your white potatoes and sweet potatoes in a pan. Use a little bit of olive oil, just a little salt, kosher salt and pepper, and bake those.
Of course.
So, and if you cut your strips fairly thin, you can bake them in about 15 minutes. So that's quick to prepare. And then a glazed sweet potato is our 3rd recipe featured on this fact sheet. So again, as we come up on those Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, these are some possible recipes.
And then also the recipe for the sweet potato that our chef, Jamie Swafford, is making. That recipe will also be on the website, am I correct?
That's correct. Yes, all of these, and you can link to the website for Cleveland County Kitchen. We're showing it as Cleveland County Kitchen Project on the Cooperative Extension website, because it will also show the recipes, newsletter, as well as the video.
Oh.
So,
great.
so once the YouTube videos are ready, and you can just click on what you would like to see.
Oh. So thank you again, Nancy, for all the information that you've shared with us about the sweet potato. And folks, don't go away. We are going to be taking a short break, and we will be then we will be in the kitchen at Cooperative Extension Agency's kitchen, and our chef Jamie Swafford will be cooking the sweet potato with what is actually my favorite, is the sweet potato pie. We are now at the Cooperative Extension Agency's kitchen out on South Post Road across from Cleveland Community College. And I am here today with Jamie Swafford, who is a local chef. He was born in Cleveland County, went to Burns High School, has been around the world, and he's back. He knows that Cleveland County's home and a good place to show what he does. So Jamie, we're using sweet potatoes from Lloyd Lewis's garden that you have just seen.
What I think about when I see a sweet potato is I think about sweet potato pie. And with the holidays right around the corner, what better time to do pies than today? So I'm going to need 3 cups of cooked sweet potato. I want to roast these to just focus on concentrating that sweet potato flavor. I will poke them with a fork to help with the cooking process. Just a few times to get to let some of that steam out as they cook.
And so actually what you can almost consider is that one sweet potato that size is 1 cup.
That's what we hope. This should definitely be enough for the recipe. These will go in an oven for an hour at 375 degrees.
Good, good, thank you.
Now, while that's going on, let me tell you about the 2 parts of the pie. We always have a filling, which the sweet potatoes are going to be that today, and then the pie crust. Pie crust is one of the most simple things to make in the kitchen. It's just a simple 3-to-1 ratio. By weight, you will need 3 parts flour, high quality, the best AP pastry flour. It will all work out the same. 3 parts flour, 2 parts butter, and 1 part water. I like to do these ingredients the night before. European style butter has a higher butter fat. It's going to be lighter and flakier. King Arthur flour is my go-to, and we're doing this by weight. 2 pounds of flour is 6 cups of this all-purpose flour. 1 pound of butter, and I put that in the freezer. I just cube it up into pea-sized cubes.
Now, do you do that before you put it in the freezer?
I do that before I put it in the freezer.
Okay.
And I actually have some.
Already,
Yeah. And then the flour I keep in the refrigerator as well. The key is everything cold. Cold
Okay.
ingredients will keep that crust, you will remember it into the new year.
Well, that's a good thing.
So 2 pounds, 1 pound, half a pound. Half a pound is 8 ounces. This is a 10-ounce bottle, but it's nice and cold. I'm just going to use it as we need it to bring this dough together. I just break these pieces up. It is quite cold.
When I've tried to make a homemade crust, it always gets so sticky, and I don't really know what to do with it. But I've never refrigerated all the ingredients, so I'm assuming that helps with the stickiness.
I hope that it does. And now I'm just going to work this dough. It's going to take a few minutes for this whole thing to come together.
Now that does look like an awful lot of dough, but consider two crust pies or 4 single crust pies.
That's it. And if you want to get fancy and do lattice work on the top, you have plenty to work with. Leftover dough is also good for making Christmas cookies or holiday cookies. You can cook those right along with your pies. I use an egg wash on the top, and you can do sprinkled sugar, and it's just a simple little cookie.
So, Our dough has set for 45 minutes in the refrigerator. It's now chilled.
So you pull the dough out of the refrigerator, and remember we had it sectioned in the disc. Again, I will dust my work surface, and then pretend that this crust has an equator on it, an imaginary line across the middle. In the front, we'll roll it away from us. In the back, we'll roll it towards us. And we do that, and it takes a little bit of pressure. And then we turn it.
Find that same equator.
Do the same thing.
And all this while it's just out of the oven, or out of the refrigerator, so it's still cold and not sticking.
And you can still see the pieces of butter. So
Yes, you can.
This is a really good crust that we have working.
Mm-hmm. And we're looking for a depth of how much?
A quarter inch. I'm thinking about my pie pan. I want to go an inch beyond that.
Okay.
I like a thicker crust. So we have the thickness that we need, and this crust is large enough to fit a 9-inch pie pan of your choosing. I turn it upside down, take my trusty paring knife, and I leave generally about an inch around the outside, rough. We're going to trim it up later.
Mm-hmm.
And these are perfect cookie pieces, like I was saying earlier.
Yes. And I can see butter, cinnamon, and brown sugar on these things.
Yes.
Woohoo!
So there's enough butter in this crust that we don't need to worry about buttering our pie.
Of course.
But remember, the key is cold. Cold is going to give you the best quality crust.
And how flexible that is. You didn't tear a single sheet or a single piece on that.
So keeping with the cold tradition, I'm going to put this in while we work with the sweet potatoes. This will be in the refrigerator, just relaxing.
Getting cold, okay.
So these sweet potatoes were in the oven for an hour. I've let them cool down for about 10-15 minutes, just to be manageable. I would still wear gloves during this. And I just want to get all of the peel off.
Well, and I'm sure the gloves protect your hands from the heat. I had never even thought about using gloves. You know, you're hot potatoing and trying to pull all the skin off, but that looks good.
And even a little paring knife action will help. Mm-hmm. We need 3 cups.
Okay. And of course, if they're not quite 3 cups, you still use all the ingredients, and just it won't be just maybe quite as thick a pie.
Correct. If you're in the ballpark, it will work. But we will be
right on. I'm sure.
And there's always things to be done with leftover. So this process can be done either in a food processor or by hand. If you do it by hand, it's going to give you a more rustic, textured look and flavor. Food processor will be smooth and dense. For the sake of the show, we're going to do this one by hand. And we are 3 cups.
Oh, look at that.
That goes into
right
the bowl.
on.
3 cups of the sweet potato. I have 1/3 cup of heavy cream. You can use milk. Any health kick people out there, you can use almond milk, coconut milk, any of the above. 1/3 cup should do the trick. 1/4 cup of brown sugar, your favorite. I like the dark. I love dark brown sugar.
Now, is that considered like raw brown sugar or
That is.
raw brown sugar? Okay.
And then another taste of Cleveland County sorghum syrup. This will be a 1/4 cup. I purchased mine from Elliott Family Farms in northern Cleveland County. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And again, this is all to taste what your personal preferences are. Some folks like vanilla flavoring in their pie. By all means, please use it. This is just a base for you to get creative. 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. Now we'll add the eggs one at a time. And just folding them in. Okay, so that filling is very rustic, done by hand. We worked for that one, and it's ready to go. Back to our pie crust. It's still cold, been chilling in the refrigerator. What I will do now is just clean this edge up. I have an egg wash. I've taken an egg yolk and a tablespoon of milk and just made an egg wash. Where this dough is going to show that's not going to be covered by sweet potato, I just want to brush it. Coarse sugar. This is sugar in the raw. I'm just going to sprinkle that around the edge on top of that egg wash.
And that as well you can buy in the grocery store?
That as well.
Mm-hmm. And what we're doing here, we're putting in what Jamie mixed all together, and I will tell you there are chunks of sweet potato.
So this is ready to go back into your 375-degree oven. I will make it nice and pretty on top. Excellent. This goes in your oven, 375 for 45 minutes or until it's golden brown. It should fluff up all the way to the center.
Okay.
So 45 minutes has been about the going rate.
It's been 45 minutes. We will now be taking out the finished product. Voila.
This is after 45 minutes in the oven. Always check towards the end. It may need to be rotated if you have hot spots in your oven, things like that. But I definitely think this is delicious and nutritious.
Well, Jamie, we can't thank you enough for doing this and for showing us really how to cook pies and starting from scratch. It's just wonderful.
Well, thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure to do it.
Well, you're welcome. And Cleveland County, we're so glad you tuned in to the very first episode of Cleveland County Kitchen. We intend to do one of these once a month. We haven't selected yet our product for next month, but it will be tied into Christmas as well. So we hope you tune in, and be sure there will be the website and information at the end of the program that will probably be scrolling across, that you'll be able to write down the website and look for recipes and nutritional content for the wonderful sweet potato grown here in Cleveland County.